Call the meeting to order. Regular board meeting for Monday, May 13th, 2024, Greater Peoria Mass Transit District. Meeting time is 5:30. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ahart,
Present.
trustee Starling Pope, present, trustee Knox,
Present.
trustee here,
Present.
trustee Morse.
All right, can everybody stand for the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the Board of Trustees Annual Election of Officers. I will make a motion to start, and I will ask Trustee Polk would like to take over chair. If I can get a second, that'd be awesome. Second. Okay. All in favor, let's say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Straight down, or does she take care of that?
Well, I was gonna do it as a slate and have everybody do it
Perfect.
at once. Is that okay?
That's 100%. You're right ahead.
Okay. For the slate of officers for the coming year, Chair Patty Sterling Polk, Vice Chair Jeff Hare, Secretary Chris Ahart, Treasurer John Knox, Trustee Daniel Morse. May I have a motion to accept?
I'll make motion.
Second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I have committee.
You have committee.
For the ADA committee, Patty Sterling Polk, Finance, John Knox, Staff of Bus, Daniel Morse, Program Development, Don Knox. And I do want to say, because of the presentation that we had at our last board meeting concerning our drivers and their concern for safety, we are going to develop a new safety committee, and that's going to be chaired by Mr. Knox. Need a motion? Okay, good. Thank you. May we have the receipt and reading of the minutes from our regular meeting in April? Has everyone had an opportunity to read those? May I have a motion to accept?
I'll make motion to accept minutes for April 8th as presented.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Receipt and reading of communications, do we have any?
Good evening, all. This is a compliment from a passenger. They said that the new general manager actually cares, and we see good changes happening for the better that has been needed for a long time. Downtown bus stations, better too. They're patrolling more. Thank you, sir. Don't leave or we will be lost without you.
Thank you. Report of officers and trustees. I have one. For Jerome Lilly Day, because we had such a hassle with getting people around and people had left, and so things were sort of kind of falling through the cracks. So the day before Jerome Lilly Day, we didn't have any posters up or anything like that. So I found that out about 4:15. I called Stephanie and I called Ken Body, and between the two of them and with the help of Yokita Johnson, flyers were in the transit center, and we also had the media out there. So because they just did more than they should have in such a short amount of time, I got for them a little great job. So I have these little pens for you, so please get one before you leave. Thank you. Just thank you so much for being there and helping out. Report of standing committees. Okay, I have one for ADA. We will be meeting tomorrow. Our WOW event is going to be, as always, a WOW event. We have decided to have it at Epic because they have space. They're really willing for us to be there. It's going to be totally different. We're going to have face painting. We're going to have balloons being made. There will be some really nice food. So we'll give you more details next month, but it's going to be a fantastic event. Reported by General Manager.
Well, I want to say hello to the board for the first time, first board meeting I've had in probably a couple of months. But I'm very pleased to be here, to be the general manager. Been in transit a very long time, and normally at the general manager level or above. And I was excited to come here because there were a lot of issues that needed to be addressed. Very familiar with the area, got family here, so I've been here many, many times. I wasn't coming into something that I didn't anticipate or know anything about. We've got a very good contingent of people here. And in the 4 weeks I've been here, I've seen people who are very discouraged, displeased, and all of that turn around 180 degrees. Very, very happy. I get a lot of compliments from the employees that at least they got someone they can go to now that will listen to them. And that's the key to running a transit agency when you're dealing with the public. You've got to be open to comment. You've got to help people that need help, and a lot of them did. You've got to be there for them, and I'm a 7-day-a-week guy. I'm here every day. I'm a single guy. I got no place to go, and I don't go to bars or none of that kind of stuff. Strictly all business. My focus has been, as you can see through the report of General Manager Marketing, what each of these individuals running those organizations have been well versed on where I'm headed. We're taking this place into the 21st century. We'll be bringing up later on some resolutions that are not in a resolution form at the time, but didn't bring my water. What do you guys allergies are working on me or something. I don't know what. Excuse me. My guy known in the transit industry is the fixing guy. Call anybody at the head of any of the agencies, they'll tell you John Myers is the fixing guy. We call on him when we got issues, especially in labor. I'm a labor attorney, such as our general counsel over here is. We work very closely together on upcoming issues, long-standing issues that haven't quite reached the resolutionary point. I'm looking at a lot of new things in transit. I stay close with the Federal Register daily to see what's in the pipeline. Something that'll help us. And I've got some items later in the agenda here to bring up to tell you the 5 things that I'm really looking at that we don't have. I was surprised we didn't, but we don't have, and we're going to bring them here. But I have the contacts to bring them here. I think we've got potential here to expand this system very well. I deal a lot with the City Planning Commission people. I do a lot of public speaking when asked. For everyone. I am a disabled veteran. I'm on the tribal council of the Cherokee Nation. My pen here is I'm about 85% Cherokee Indian. So I do a lot of work with them, and I'm a specialist in Indian law, which is a total, don't get me started on that part. I've written, published 2 major books on public transit, got a third just about finished. I'm not bragging or any, I'm not a bragger, I don't have an ego and I don't have a check. I'm just a business guy to make things work. To the benefit of the public and to the benefit of the organization that brought me here. The board has put their trust in me and looked at my credentials, which are all perfectly intact, open to anybody. I'm willing to fulfill what needs to be done, and it will get better, and I can make you that promise. Things will get better, the employers are much happier. And we do have a major contract renewal coming up in November, which we will be going over with Bill and with Paige, our HR director. And we're going to come out with a good contract. I can tell you that. Not just because the head of the ATU is a close personal friend of mine. It's just because I'm talking about the top guy at the ATU. So we'll have a good one there, a fair one. That's fair to the organization. We're not going to give away the bank. I'm a money guy, numbers guy. And I just went over redoing the budget with Jeff and Sherry, who is watching us online up here. I cut out a lot of things that didn't even need to be in there. And as you'll see when you go through the preview of the budget that we gave you tonight, or giving you tonight, that we're going to come out ahead. We will be $111,000 in excess of what we really need to do the job. We're not going to be way over budget. I've never run an agency over budget. Because you've got to watch numbers. I don't buy buses with all the bells and whistles on them. We buy what we need to do what we need to do. We don't buy a bus that runs as good as a Cadillac. We just buy a bus. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm a guy that's here every day. I only missed one day of work in the last 29 years up here. You need to be here to know what's going on. You need to be here so you don't get one of the board members above you, who I report to the board, blindsided by somebody from the outside on something that none of us knew about. The board will always know what I know. I don't do anything under the table. I'm a straight shooter all the way. What you hear from me is what's going on and what needs to go on. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you. We have a very good crew of people here. I'm really, really surprised we do.
Thank you so much, John, for that report. Does anyone have any questions about the report? Well, of course, you know I do. Okay. My question is to Director Green. We had talked about on several occasions that you were going to give us some dollar and cents on bus rentals and that sort of thing from other locations. And I had anticipated seeing something this month. And is it here and I just missed it?
I give it to John.
Okay.
I can,
It's an actual, it's like an actual report on,
this is not a report, it's a quote.
okay. All right. Do you remember, John? I just needed to know if it's a possibility. We have drivers that are upset already because we don't have air conditioners in buses. I know that we always hear that parts have been ordered and we're going to fix it, but we never do. So I'm asking, we need a resolution or whatever if we're going to do this, or do you not plan on doing this? I also know that the 10 buses are here, but we don't have the cameras in them, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we can't use those until we do the cameras, right? Okay, so I just need to know what the plan is to help our drivers out so they aren't riding in unair conditioned buses. Okay, so I'll just wait for one of you to You got anything today, or you want to send it to us in email?
I could send it to you, I could tell you what the
Okay, that
cost
would be
is.
excellent.
Midwest Bus out of Michigan. Can rent 35-foot Gilligs, but the 2009s, and they all have over 500,000 miles. on them. They want $5,000 to $600,000 a month with a minimum of a 12-month lease.
So did you check with our neighbors like Rock Island and Bloomington and Champaign?
I talked to Bloomington, they got a contingency fleet themselves.
Rock Island,
I haven't spoke to Rock Island.
okay, and Champaign.
Champaign had two buses that were down. They were the hybrids.
Okay, so they don't have any that they could, that we could utilize. So we know that the Midwest option is
Is
not
there,
gonna
and
happen.
also
Okay,
Custom Coach Works out of California, who we done business with before. They were more to sell than to rent.
all right. So would you check then with the Quad Cities, because I believe Mr. Wambacher had said that he thought that they had some that might be available for us to
No.
use. Not even- Okay.
No, no. They have their own issues
Okay,
too.
all right.
So, I mean, it's a very, I mean, this is not unique to Peoria, the problems we're having and stuff. And part of it, if you want to know a little bit the history, part of this goes back to decisions that were made probably 20 years ago by a board here. And they delayed bringing on buying new buses because they had hopes of incorporating Caterpillar engines in those buses. And that was a process to go through a waiver to be able to single source those. There were problems with transmissions because Caterpillar engines were set up more for over the road, so they used a different type of transmission system. And so there was a delay for a period of time because the board was enthusiastically wanting to incorporate those engines. And the problem became they delayed for a period of time for that. And so then the entire fleet got into worse shape. So the replacement cycling of these buses have been that created some problems that continues to carry forward to some extent because of those delays. And so, and we had problems back in during that time period with air conditioning systems not working on buses when weather got warmer. We had labor issues that dealt with that. And some of those were dealt with by having frank discussions with the union president. Okay, so there's a whole history involving some of these things and stuff, and it's difficult to find
So bottom
used
line, though,
buses.
we aren't going to be able to have all of our buses air conditioning for our drivers.
We're gonna have more buses to choose from once we get these 10 buses working. And our supported vehicles, I have appointments set up all for next week. I'm outsourcing the air conditioning work to someone else
Okay.
because we can't keep up.
Okay. And then my only other question is $19,000 for 2009 Ford passenger van. Is that seems a bit high, but help me with
That was a good price,
Okay,
and it has less than 14,000 miles on it.
okay.
So it should get 3 to 4 years at least.
Okay.
About
Thank you. Report project updates from our new assistant general manager.
Good evening. My name is Kofi Kisei, and I'm the new AGM. I've been here since April 15th. I have a background in transportation. I moved here from Rhode Island. Worked for a transit organization, just about the same size as what we have here. Like John said earlier, I look forward to contributing every skill, experience I have to the wonderful team here so that we all have the same goal, great customer service, safe operations, and making sure that what we say we're going to do, we do it. There's a very great team here, like John said, so I look forward to working with everyone to attain these goals. I am going to provide a quick update on some projects, and these are the projects. There are some we've already touched on briefly. So we have the transit center safety glass, bus shelters, support vehicles, fixed route buses, transit center dome renovation, chair box, mobile app, and ADA vans. With regards to the safety glass, that is work that has been completed. It was completed in January, so that is all set. Bus shelters is work in progress. What we're currently doing is replacing the broken glass. What we have in broken glass, we replacing it with perforated metal pieces. So that makes it a little bit more safe and saves the whole. We expected to complete this summer. About 15 to 16 were completed prior to the winter months. We currently have 2 scheduled to be completed for the perforated metal installations. And management continues to push the use of checklist. So whatever it takes to make sure that we don't miss anything. Other things on here, we're developing a new routine maintenance plan for the shelters. And that goes beyond what we're doing in-house. Tri-county. So there are projects ongoing, grants involved, making sure that these shelters are safe, and what is lacking, other things are put into place. So we're working with like Tri-County on grants and other things for that. We're working with operations to identify new locations to add shelters and benches after routes have been established. Support vehicles. Per the guidance of the IDOT, we have to purchase these vehicles through the Illinois bid buy. New project lead, which will be myself, will be working with the bid buy vendors to identify vehicles and their availability in order to purchase from Illinois master contracts. We have contacted several vendors in order to purchase vehicles from a state of Illinois master contracts. Replacements thus far would include 2 SUVs, 2 minivans, 1 transit van, and 2 supervisor medium duty vans. Fixed route buses. Currently, we have 46 aging diesel buses. 2 are out of service. 40 are eligible for replacement. Between 5 and 10 will be refurbished. Out of this, I think we already have 1 that is being worked on, and we should have it back by the end of May, the 1 that is being refurbished. We have 4 hybrid buses, currently all in midlife. 3 electric buses, ongoing support and part supply issues. We already touched on the 10 new buses we've received. So work is in progress to equip them with whatever they need to be equipped with, registration and all those things, so that we can have those on the road as soon as possible. The transit center and the dome remodel received IDOT pre-bid concurrence in February. This project is ready to procure an A&E firm to finalize the design of the renovation. Expected to solicit A&E firm by summer 2024 and award this by fall 2024. Farebox and mobile app. This is an issue that have been looked at by previous administrations. So it's something I'm revisiting, and I've already met with the key players to discuss and look at the way forward. So this is a project that should be taken off ASAP, but this is nothing that I'm reinventing. It's something that have been addressed, but was left halfway. So this is a project that I have taken on, and we'll be moving forward with the team here. ADA bands. So County Link has 12 bands. Out of this 12, 5 are eligible for replacement. 3 will be replaced through the IDOT CVP program. We're working on to see if the other 2 would also fit in there so that all 5 will be replaced through this program. City lift vans, 13 are eligible for replacement. We are identifying funding sources in order to replace the remainder of the vehicles. So it's clear there's a lot of work to be done in this regards. And that's the end of my presentation.
Budget.
Yes.
Can you go back to the bus shelter slide? Just a question. So what's the goal for, is there a schedule for, I see we currently have 2 scheduled. What's the schedule like throughout the rest of the year, or however it's going to take to get the next shelters updated, or is there a plan for that?
So like I said, a meeting with Tri-County where they have secured funding and bringing in 2 or 3 interns to go around all our locations to provide a report on the conditions. I explained to them that I would work with our ops team to come up with that information. So the director of operations, myself, and the assistant director are all on board about this. So considering the fact that there's funding available, it's something that time-wise, I would say as soon as possible. So all they need is information from us, and I would update the team on the next steps. But it's something that is ongoing now.
Okay. So
Mr. Knox, can I add to that?
absolutely.
Part of my program I was gonna mention later, is I have mentioned to the chair earlier, I'm connected with good friends in what's called Lamar Advertising. They're a very big advertising corporation. I've made arrangements with Lamar over the years to come and put shelters in at locations that I picked out that cost us nothing. They sell advertising that they put in these shelters, which we will get 20% of. And I've already located 14 places so far to put shelters, and there's more. Because of course, the winters we have here. And I look at it as a good source of revenue building as we expand out and more shelters come in that don't cost us a dime. And they're top of the line shelters. They got bulletproof glass in them. It doesn't break. And all of that. And it'll get people out of the snow and just cold winter. But I'm working on that personally. We're gonna get that rolling.
Good, because that was a question that I'd asked in the previous administration as well, as how do we leverage advertising opportunities on the
Right.
local shelter as well? So there's another follow-up question then. So which one of you is representing Charles County Planning Commission on the technical committee meetings? Because we probably need to coordinate, because I go to the strategy meeting, so that way
I'll be doing that.
so we'll coordinate for the next time so that, you know, we're able to send the same messages at both the 2 meetings.
You bet.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
What's the, sorry, the dome transit center remodel, can you describe that a little bit? What's the scope of that work?
Right. The dome.
So the scope on the underdome renovation, so we have the concrete work going on inside to better direct traffic, make it easier to pull in and out of, to reduce accidents there, as well as signage for the routes, to help direct our our ridership to the rest of the correct buses to make sure that they get where they need to go. Trying to make everything a little bit more clean cut, things that aren't gonna be as easily damaged. Where people can't just rip a piece of paper off a wall and then all of a sudden you don't know where you need to go. So we'll have digital signs we can update as part of that. And then new striping. There's some structural door work that I would like to see done. There's a couple doors that have been damaged in the past that need to be replaced. Lighting is a big concern. So that will also be a part of it. So new LED lighting underneath the dome to help brighten things up. Reduce any kind of shadows or dark spots that we do currently have. That would be the new signage around the outside, new metal. That's pretty much the broad strokes of that project.
Good, thank you.
More questions?
One more comment, just for background, because I haven't talked to John and Kofi. So, this is, I think, our second month of doing these project updates like this. We requested it some months ago. I think last month was more like some flowing Word document kind of format. And then I said, hey, we better if we get to something like a PowerPoint like this on a monthly basis. So what would be good, I think, for us to understand is maybe, each month a little bit of a breakdown, like maybe a bullet point on the background, a bullet point on what's the current status, and another bullet point that says what's the next steps. Because each one is kind of formatted different, which is fine for now as we keep maturing the process. I think that would be the best way so that we can, go forward and move through the meeting quick and then, address the relevant points. So, thank you.
More questions, statements? Okay, moving along. New facility update.
Beth couldn't be here today, so you guys are stuck with me. So I apologize. Yeah. So F&W has started installing the bushes and sod, as well as the wood chips, trying to get all that stuff cleaned up. The sod does look a lot better, but the weather is not cooperating 100%. The rain has made the new sod that we put down grow extremely fast, and the ground where it hasn't gone down, difficult to work with. So we also have RCC. They have installed the admin sidewalk in between the two, so they can walk onto the terrace on the second floor without having to cut through. They have also installed the terrace door extensions. That's the ramps that you see there that would go up into the doorways. In River City demolition has started or continued to work on the south building demolition. You see they have made huge progress. There's a lot of walls that have come down. They've started reskinning the outside with new metal. It's coming a long way. It's going quite well. Bedrock has also been in there power washing the ceiling, getting rid of all the years of crud that it's accumulated up there. A&J is reworking electrical, and Pipco is installing the new hanging heaters. I skipped ahead a little bit. There's the steel work you see on the outside. So they're adding some insulation that was not there previously. So the building will be more sound. It'll be a lot more airtight. It'll help keep it warm, so we don't have issues with plumbing and the buses freezing up in the middle of the winter. Then we have the budget update. We have not had any adjustments to the GMP. Overall phases, 85.65% complete. Total gross bill to date is $37,353,183. The payment 36 will be submitted at the end of the month. Overall schedule, phase A is of course 100% complete. Phase B is up to 90%. There's still a punch list that's going on the second and third floor that'll be done here soon. Miscellaneous things, blinds to hang, any kind of damage to the walls that was done during the process, they are correcting. Some glazing and a little bit of glass work on the inside. They did get the glass put in at the receptionist area, as well as dispatch and the finance area. Phase C is 18% along, and phase D has no change at 10%. That's it for the update. Is there anything I can answer for you?
What's the process of like moving people from here to there? I mean, I understood that some people have moved.
Yes, so obviously the garage, all of that has been moved. We have moved people into the second floor dispatch, as well as some of the directors. Third floor, we have decided to slow down a little bit on the move, just to make sure that they get the punch list completed first. I don't like the idea of vendors and contractors coming in and trying to work over the top of our people that are working. Presents a danger that frankly, I don't see as worth it. So I would like to see the punch list completed, and then once that stuff is done, then we'll be able to make the move.
Do we ever get, and I might have missed this, we ever get an update on it? At one point, we were kind of stalled because of furniture. And they talked about moving everything over here, over there, but they didn't want to do that. And did that ever get resolved, or where are we at with that?
So the furniture, we got the initial bid that came in. It came in quite a bit higher than what we'd like to see. So we've made some alterations, and I have a meeting with them tomorrow to update them on the changes that we'd like to make, and then we'll have the new quote as soon as possible. And then we'll be able to move forward with that.
More questions? Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Brett.
Appreciate it.
Report of the Transdale General Manager.
Good evening. Excuse me, just the kind of highlights of the information you already have in front of you. Our on-time performance, we're still struggling, quite frankly. We are actively recruiting, and it seems like I had 5 in class, and 4 of them made it through. Unfortunately, we also lost 3. One of them is actually coming down here, which I'm very happy for her because she's a lovely person. You're gonna love her. So our ridership is kind of holding steady. We've been short-staffed, not only with our drivers significantly, we've been having to send all of our dispatchers out to drive, which means the managers have been dispatching. I haven't driven this month, but I've been doing a lot of dispatching. So we are still struggling with that. Fortunately, we did hire another dispatcher. He has completed his driver training and has actually been covering some routes. Hopefully we'll have him in the office later this week so he can complete his dispatcher training, and we'll be fully staffed in that area. We are now fully staffed in our maintenance department. We just hired another mechanic. He is also going through, all of our employees have to go through driver training just as a backup. And of course, and the mechanics do drive a vehicle in a lot and to road calls and such. So he, this week, probably tomorrow or the next day, he'll be going back to the shop. He's already brought his tools in. We're really excited. So our maintenance department will be fully staffed. Outside of that, we are currently recruiting. It says 10 additional drivers, but I'm really hoping for about 15. We've been going to every job fair that we can find. We have postings everywhere. We made little referral cards that we're giving out everywhere we can, giving to all the drivers to give to all their friends. We have a referral bonus that we're hoping is gonna, we've had that for quite some time. It just hasn't really come to a whole fruition. We hired a new human resources manager. She's had a lot of experience in recruiting. So she's been just heavy into that, contacting every single person who applies, reaching out, doing a phone interview first. We want to make sure they understand what it is that we're looking for, because in times past, we had individuals who did pass qualifications because they didn't quite understand what our rules are in the state of Illinois and for under federal guidelines. So she's making it very clear during their phone interviews. So people that are coming into the office for their interviews are a lot more solid, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word. Our ridership, sorry, I meant to have this in front of me. Our ridership has gone, there it is, I'm so sorry. So our ridership on the county side has gone up 20%. We're seeing a pretty significant increase on the county and the urban side. And then the ridership on the city looks like has gone down by about 18%. I think some of that, but like I said, I'll always be very transparent with you. I think some of that ridership issue is because we have been running late. It's not okay. It's not good. It's not the service that I want to provide our community. And I'm hoping as we get more and more staff that we'll be able to provide that service that they deserve. Not only for the on-time performance, not only to get them picked up, but even the customer service aspect of it. Our drivers and our dispatchers are very, very busy. All of us are very, very busy. I'm sure everyone here is. And I just want to assure you that we're not stopping. We're going to push until we give that service that the community deserves.
Thank you. Questions?
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Public comments? Has anyone signed up for public comment? Seeing none. Old business? None. Okay. New business. Budget for 2025. We're all excited.
Okay, in your packet is a review of the 2025 budget. As I mentioned earlier, this was scrutinized very, very carefully by myself and the board member, Jennifer, and Sherry, our finance director. We spent several hours on this. I cut out a lot of stuff that shouldn't have been in there, luxury we didn't need, and jiggling it around. It's there for your review. As you mark up something you see you don't like, and feel free to get with me or Sherry at any time between now and the next board meeting when the budget will be up for final review and approval. And the reason I wanted to get it out to you a month ahead of time was so you would have time to review. If you see something you don't like, you feel that we didn't put enough in there for certain things, let us know. But as the budget stands right now, we've got a slush fund of about $111,000 extra over and above what we really need to operate with. It was $2.8 million below before we got to fooling with it. We were over budget that much. But that's before we started chopping and looking at numbers and things that don't need to be in there that we don't want to pay for. They're not necessary to run the bus operation. They're money that's in there is necessary for what we need to do in our public, as well as the board and the city and the state and the feds are looking for you to run as an efficient program as possible. We have a triennial review coming up from the feds next year, and I want to be sure when they do their audit and look at our budget, we're under budget, we're spending the money properly, and it also will help with getting grants. And right now is a very good time to get grants before we have too many more elections, whatever. So there's money out there, especially in transportation projects. We're looking at those carefully, and of course, Jamie Arbogast is looking at them. She does most of our grant work. But I also do it because I've done grant work in the past. I've been a DOT person on the other side reviewing grants that come in, people asking for a wish list. So we're not asking for any wish list. We're just putting in grants for the money we need to get caught up on stuff that needs to be done and for future projects that I've got in mind. As I mentioned, the bus shelter and a couple of other things. One of the other things I've got in is a new program for drivers and mechanics. Most of the agencies I've run have always had morale problems with drivers and with mechanics. And some of them are in right work states where a lot of them aren't even in the union. So I'm bringing a new program here called Driver of the Year, Mechanic of the Year. there will be an evaluation by team members, not me personally, because I don't play any favorites. Everybody's my favorite. And they will evaluate based on the records and accidents, days at work, how often they hear, this type of stuff. And they end up with a driver of the year who will get a $500 check in their own private parking spot with a sign up here in the lot, right at the front. They'll get a decal on the side of the bus under the driver window, which will say, this bus is professionally driven by that person's name. You wouldn't believe how many happy guys I've seen over the years that they're driving around town. And that's their personal bus for the whole year. Nobody drives it but them. Mechanics will also get $500 reward. And Steve and I will be working on a plan of how we're going to judge those mechanics. But I'm very mechanically oriented. I'm not fooled easy about what needs to be and not be. That's one of the new programs I'm putting in. And I'm focusing in especially on on-time performance, absenteeism, and cost-effective labor agreement and workers' comp, which we have way too many people on workers' comp for an agency this size. And I'm looking at a program to make as many of those people come back to work on light duty as possible to get us out of the hole with workers' comp. As I say, the budget will be very closely scrutinized by me daily. I'm not a CPA, but I am a numbers guy. I know what it takes, what it costs, and what we don't need. That's pretty much it. The only other thing new that I was disappointed to see when I came here is we don't have a DBE program, which is Disadvantaged Enterprise Program, which the FTA takes very close looks at that type of a program. For those of you who don't know what a DBE program is, every transit agent in this country that gets money from FTA has to come up with a number, which is called a participant number. What is the percentage of all the contract work you let out going to disadvantaged enterprise? Some are as high as I had in Dallas, 37% of any contract went out had to be DBE operated, owned, and approved. That's a very large agency, of course. I had 2,300 people just under me alone, and with about 5,000 and something employees. I want to put the program in here, and I'll work closely with the members of the disadvantaged business community here in Peoria. And I know a couple already that I've met. And contracts we put out for any type of work will be bid on, and we will set a number, which I will bring to the board on a resolution that we're going to start out with this number that say 5% or 10% of all contracts let out by this agency go to DBE businesses. We can increase the number, excuse me, please, or decrease it, over the years as we see what it's bringing. And I can assure you from the FTA side, it's going to bring us a lot of favorable looks when we put in for grants. Because when they come here for the triennial next year, that's going to be one of the first questions from the auditors from the FTA. What's your DBE number? Well, we don't have one. That's going to shoot us in the foot right off the bat. So I'm going to be happy to say we got a 10 or 15% DBE number here, that our contracts go to the disadvantages, underprivileged businesses that are operated here, and there are quite a few. I'm going to make a big effort to go around and visit with these people on the type of business they do and what they do fit in with what we're going to contract. We're going to get that number out there to the public. I will bring the resolution to the board to approve the number of what you want to start out with, and we'll take it from there and run it. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you, John. Does anyone have questions right now?
I have one more. The auditors, Skilling Company are here and they need to make their presentation for the audit that they did.
I think they're on.
Yeah, the next side.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Chad Lucas, I'm a principal with Sickich. Appreciate the opportunity to work with the district again this year. I'd like to thank Sherry and the rest of the team for their help during the audit process. I have a couple of documents here for you that I'll real quickly go through. I think you've had a chance to look at those ahead of time. First, kind of quickly go through this large report, the comprehensive annual financial report. The comprehensive annual financial report is over and above the basic reporting requirements. So included in a comprehensive report is an introductory section, which has a transmittal letter that is written by management. It's got a chart, flow charts and the organizational charts. And the second section is the basic financial statements. And then the last section is the statistical section, and it has a lot of trend information, 10 years worth of trend information, that statistical sections about revenue capacity and operating statistics and demographics. In addition to that, there's also some sections in here about the single audit report, the federal reporting requirements that you have, as well as the 5311 grants and the downstate operating assistance grants as well. So those are in the back of this section. So I'll just kind of quickly run through this. Included in this financial statement, the only thing that's really ours in this financial statements are the independent auditors reports. We've included a audit report that is what we refer to as an unmodified opinion. It means that based on our audit procedures, we believe the information included in these financial statements are fairly presented. We did have 7 audit adjustments that I'll go through. It's in the other the smaller packet, but everything that based on our audit procedures, we believe that everything included in here is fairly presented. Just in terms of the activity, there was a increase in your financial position over the prior year of approximately $16.2 million from FY22 to FY23. And primarily that relates to your capital contributions for your construction projects. So grants related to those capital projects that you have, that totaled approximately $19 million. So the net, you had a net loss before that capital contributions of about $2.7 million net loss, plus the 19 gives you about $16.2 million positive increase in your net position. In terms of the federal financial reporting, there were approximately $13 million of federal funds, that $13.5 million that we were required to audit as a part of this single audit. The major program that we tested was the federal transit cluster. So those are your formula grants and your bus facilities formula program grants. Those totaled about $13,042,000 of the $13.479 million. So over 95% of your total funds were tested during the audit process. We also have an independent auditor's report on your downstate operating grant and the 5311 grant, both the operating assistance grant as well as the CARES operating assistance grant from 5311. So both of those reports were, again, unmodified opinions based on our procedures. We believe this information is fairly presented. That's just kind of a quick summary of the audit report itself. I can try and answer any questions on that. And I also have this document that I'll quickly run through as well. So the smaller document is what we call the board report. It's our auditor's communication to the board and management. Included in here is a kind of a cover letter from us, but there's also a required communications letter indicating that based on our audit procedures, there were some estimates that we evaluated during the audit process. We list those estimates included in there. Depreciable useful lives, assumptions related to your net pension liability, as well as your other post-employment benefit liability, and your self-insured health insurance or workers' comp insurance claims. There's assumptions associated with all those estimates that we had to evaluate during our process. I mentioned before we did have 7 adjusting journal entries. 3 of those 7 were material to the financial statements. 2 of them related to the IMRF actuarial calculations, as well as the other post-employment benefit calculations. The third one related to your downstate operating assistance receivable that was calculated during the audit process. We made a material adjustment related to that. No disagreements with management. We did have a few entries that we did not make adjustments for. We listed those. We're required to disclose those to you in that board packet. It's on page 7. And then page 8 and 9 is our management letter. And we did have, I mentioned, because we had material audit adjustments, we had a material weakness over financial reporting. Anytime that we make material audit adjustments, we're required to have that material weakness over financial reporting, since the financial statements are your financial statements. There were a couple other smaller items that were actual repeat comments from the prior year, user access controls, as well as OPEB census data. So a couple of other things that were less significant than the material weakness we identified. That's kind of a quick summary of our audit report. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions?
How do you define a material weakness, or what does that mean?
Yeah, if you turn to page 9, we explain in there that a deficiency in internal control exists when a design or operation of controls does not allow management or employees in the normal course of business to prevent, detect, or correct misstatements on a timely basis. So if there are material adjustments that are made that aren't caught by management, those would fall into that category of a material weakness over financial reporting. So your control processes didn't catch those material adjustments that were required for the financial reporting.
My question is to John and to Sherry. I'm assuming that you guys are going to have some kind of process that you're going to work on so that we don't have these things with our next audit on the material witnesses, material weaknesses. You've got a recommendation that you're going to come up with? Can't. You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There's really a lot of feedback. Hold on. Okay. With regards to the material findings that they encountered, one of the major ones was it related to the downstate operating assistance program. And so with that, I think that I don't have all of the history, but it was a way that the former finance director was using the match. I believe that she was using federal funds to match federal, and it's not allowed. The issue actually predates me, so it was something that occurred long before I got there. However, to rectify that, we have been in discussions, or in the past, late last fall, we were in discussions with IDOT staff, specifically Sean Reese, to determine a path forward in regards to the amount that is owed and should be repaid back to IDOT. Part of that, I think, would involve just having the staff be aware of all of the different funding mix policies and guidelines, what's prohibited and what is allowed. So that's just coming from my standpoint, being an outsider in terms of not having been here with the organization during the time that the misstatement occurred. With regards to other findings, I believe that can be rectified by initiating training for the finance staff.
Excellent. Thank you.
Welcome.
Any more questions? May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second,
We need roll call?
Roll call, yep. Trustee Ayard,
approve.
trustee Polk,
Approved.
trustee Hare,
Approve.
trustee Morris,
Approved.
trustee Knox, approved.
Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're ready for eight.
I think you need to do the, exercise the option for next year's audit.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's on that.
Sherry's gonna do that.
Okay,
That's what item A.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Then we just, what do we just vote on then?
Yeah.
Were you just doing the audit report, the acceptance of the audit?
well, I was doing the resolution 2430.
Okay. I guess I was confused and I thought you were doing the acceptance of
Well,
the audit.
you're right,
report.
you're right,
I
because
think you were.
I just read what this says. You're right, we just voted on accepting the audit. So now we need to do the actual money part, which would be Sherry.
Okay, I would like to recommend that we exercise our option one of the contracts for the performance of financial audit services with Sickich CPA LLC. We are required as an agency to have an annual audit conducted in accordance with Title II of the Code of Federal Regulations, Subpart F, Section 200 of the audit requirements. GPMTD's current agreement for these services is due to expire on June 30th of this year. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees of the Greater Peoria Mass Transit District award the contract renewal for the performance of financial audit services to Sickich CPA LLC for the period of 1 year beginning July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
Thank you.
You're
Any
welcome.
questions? Okay. You have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second,
Roll call.
trustee Ahart,
Where are we going?
trustee Bolt,
Approved.
trustee Hare,
Approved.
trustee Morris,
Approved.
trustee Knox, approved.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. If I may, before I jump into the resolution, I want to introduce our new safety director. So many of you may know her, Bettina Scott. Not to put her on the spot, but she's got a lot of safety experience. She's already been a huge asset to us. So she actually came over to us from TransDev, sorry, Angel and team. But she has been great. So we're excited to have her. So to jump into resolution 2431, Blue Cross Blue Shield contract renewal. So the district provides major medical insurance to employees. And First Mid Insurance Group, the insurance consultant for the district, is recommending that the district renew its major medical insurance coverage, specific reinsurance, and aggregate reinsurance with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. We currently contract for major medical insurance with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, which includes specific reinsurance and aggregate reinsurance, which expires on June 30th, 2024. So the financial impact is listed here. It is a 13.5% increase since last year. And it is recommended that the Greater Peoria Mass Transit District renew its contract for major medical insurance coverage through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, which includes specific reinsurance and aggregate reinsurance effective for plan year January 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
Thank you. Questions? Motion?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Trustee Ahart,
Approved.
trustee Bolt,
Approved.
trustee Hare, approved, trustee Morris,
Approved.
trustee Knox, approved.
Motion carries. Thank you.
So the next one, resolution number 2432, revised drug and alcohol policy. The Greater Peoria Mass Transit District provides public transportation services within the areas contiguous of the city of Peoria, the township of West Peoria, and the village of Peoria Heights and other communities in the Greater Peoria area. The district has updated its drug and alcohol policy to comply with federal and state laws and regulations. And the recommendation is for the Greater Peoria Mass Transit District to update its drug and alcohol policy to comply with federal, state laws and regulations.
Questions? Motion,
Motion.
second.
Second.
All in favor? Or do you do that?
One roll call needed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. We are to the recommendation for, well, it's resolution 2433.
We here at CityLink are requesting permission to purchase 10 Safe Fleet mobile surveillance systems with installation. The Greater Peoria Mass Transit District is seeking to purchase 10 additional mobile surveillance systems from Safe Fleet to be installed on the 10 new Gillig buses. These systems will be added to our current VMAX Commander 5.0. We'll be able to request video through Safe Fleet software and receive automatic downloads when bus returns to the garage through our current Xeon Wi-Fi grid. This purchase is a sole source based on Safe Fleet VMAX Commander software. It's proprietary. The purchase of these cameras will continue to provide a valuable tool for investigations that will protect the district, employees, and public. Procurement impact, this will be a sole source purchase under section 5.6.1.2, a unique capability or availability of the procurement policy. It is recommended the Board of Trustees authorize the purchase of Safe Fleet's 10 mobile surveillance systems, including on-site installation and access to the VMAX Commander. The cost not to exceed $80,310.
Questions?
Do we have the system on the current buses?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Motion,
So moved.
second.
Second.
Roll call. Well, you want to
Yeah, we'll do it. Trustee Ahart,
Approved.
trustee Polk,
approve?
trustee Hare,
Approved.
trustee Morris,
Approved.
trustee Knox.
Motion carries.
Thanks,
Thank you. Jerry. Board bills.
All right. In your packet before you, you have the staff summary from the finance department. I'd like to summarize the April 2024 financial activities. If you look down at the bottom with regards to the recommendation, and first of all, the financial impact, in April 2024, the total monthly operating expenditures were a little over $2 million, and it represents 5.2% of the FY 2024 annual budget. This percentage is 0.37% less than the monthly projection. There were no abnormalities during the month, nothing notable to report. The totals are as you see, and I would like to request approval of the disbursements as stated.
Questions? Motion,
I'll make motion.
second.
Second,
Roll call.
trustee Ahart,
Approved.
trustee Polk,
Approve?
trustee Hare,
Approved.
trustee Morris,
Approved.
trustee Knox. Approved.
Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, help me, Bill, with the executive session.
Okay, you'll need a motion to go into executive session under the particular section that you have to recite.
Okay, I'd like to have a motion to go into executive session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C relating to employee matters.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay.
Trustee Ahart,
Approved.
trustee Polk,
Approved.
trustee Hare,
Approved.
trustee Morris,
Approved.
trustee Knox. Approved.
Motion carries.